tryna get it right, but life's shaky though. We just tryna make Christ look attainable. When I do it on my own, that's not sustainable. So I just pray and give it all to God, he makes the faithful grow. Everybody feels condemned, that's not the case. I got the recipe cause I've been seasoned with grace.
Thank you for tuning in to Nehemiah Abilene. If you have been blessed by this, if this has helped grow you or connect you with the body of believers, and you would like to give, the whole purpose of these podcasts and clips and social media is to try to generate more support for our ministry, which is Nehemiah Abilene. And you can find us at nehemiahabilene.org. We house about 90 men full-time, raising them up as disciples and leaders for the kingdom, to be the revival that we believe is coming. And we believe what that looks like is men back in position as leaders at their home and family. You can cash app us at #NehemiahABI, and by all means be a member of a local church. But if in addition to that you would like to give, there are many ways to do so. Thank you very much.
So when I was a kid, Gary was like a big, back when the car industry, like GM and stuff like that, like they had warehouses and stuff in Gary and stuff like that. But then like over time, as like when they moved the warehouses, the
plants and stuff
out of those places, it kind of went, listen, and like I know, once that starts happening,
poverty,
crime goes
drugs,
up, poverty goes up, that was selling
buildings,
all of that.
Yeah.
And then Gary and Chicago are like this.
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong a little bit, but maybe 45 minutes to get from Gary to Chicago.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. It might be a little bit longer, but it's really close.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that stuff is okay. I'm gonna put my phone do not disturb. So a lot of that stuff is like how it is. So Gary just got really bad. So it was at one point in time it was booming because that's where Michael Jackson's from.
Yeah.
Like that's like it was booming. And then when we got old, I was there. I went to Gary. I didn't go to Gary. I went through Gary about a few years ago, and it's literally like nothing. It's really impoverished, a lot of abandoned buildings. It's just like I always tell people, like they're like, man, I'm going to Gary. I'm like, bro, there's nothing in Gary but crime. Like there's nothing in Gary but crime. Yep. So it's really a get it out the mud type place.
Yeah,
it really is. South Bend is a little bit. I wouldn't put South Bend. I wouldn't put this ain't like claim and territory thing.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put South Bend on the same level as Gary or Indianapolis or Fort Wayne.
Probably the most ghetto place outside of Oak Cliff that I've been to is Memphis. I don't know if you've been to Memphis.
I've been to Memphis.
Bro. I remember my homeboy was living out there for a while.
Yeah.
And so I went out to Memphis and we sitting back, we talking, and one of the dudes in the group, he was like, yeah, what you said? I was like, I repeated myself. I didn't realize what you said was I agree with you.
Yeah.
I thought you were playing him like, what you say? He's like, no, he's saying that's real. That's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Dialect this is important. So, yeah.
So we'll get into that. We'll just kind of jump into everything. Grayson, let me know when you're ready. Okay. So intro, do I need to do an intro or okay? Am I doing it here? Yes. Okay. All right. Is my hat straight? You already know this is the. It looks straight. Do I look slouched though? Hold on. Let me sit up.
Perfectionist. I like it.
Because these titties be on the. They be on the podcast, boy. They be on there. Oh love. Bet we good? Yeah. Okay, bet. Ready when I'm ready, right? Yo, what's up, everybody? God bless y'all, man. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Season with Grace. I'm Antwoine Hill. I have a special guest here today. They call him C. Dot. Wait, you want to give me your real name? I want you to tell me your real name real fast.
No, my government name is Chris Daughtery.
And I thought that was funny because I heard him randomly. I was like, there's like, oh, Chris Daughtery going to be here. I'm like, oh, what? That's random. But then I got here, I was like, Chris Daughtery done got a crazy tan out of nowhere.
Hey, that same thing happened when I actually came back to Dias.
Yeah.
For a hardship when I was in the military, and I started hearing people that's like, Chris Daughtery coming, Chris Daughtery coming, Chris Daughtery coming. I was like, I don't think that's who y'all think it is.
Yeah, I think
it's me. They read my name. They was like,
They was
I
like
don't get
down.
disappointed. I'm cool too. So yeah,
Amen, amen. So I got Chris Daughtery. He's here, man, and I got to hear you speak. They do a thing here in the city where we're at called well, it doesn't really have a real name. It's just like a Bible study amongst a bunch of men. We come in and we have different people come in and speak every Wednesday, and we just eat pizza, and it's a cool little thing for men to get together. But I got to hear you speak there. It's probably been a few weeks ago now, and right away I was like, man, I think it'd be dope to get him on the podcast. The funny thing is, I'm connected with a lot of pretty well known like Christian rap artists and like just Christian ministers and stuff like that. And one of the things that I like was impressed upon me was like, I don't know, like of course I want to have some of those guys on here, but I was like, man, I want to hear people hear things from everyday people who really out here doing some dope stuff in the community,
man.
and working, right? And so I thought that would be super awesome to have you on here. So first of all, how you doing? And I appreciate you being here, man.
I'm doing good. I'm hungry.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
You should have said that before we started, bro.
Oh,
We
no,
could have got you one of the peanut butter and jellies.
Hey, it's always after.
yeah, for
Ain't gonna
sure.
turn down no good people and
For sure,
but
for
man,
sure.
I'm doing good.
Amen.
I'm feeling the pressure of just the work I do. So if you're not familiar with people that do mentoring,
Yeah, it's a lot. So listen. So let's just jump into it. You
Okay.
know, for those that don't know you or don't know what you what you do, could you tell them the name of your organization, what you guys do, what your goal is there? Just kind of give everybody an introduction to what that is and what you try.
Absolutely. First of all, thank you for allowing me on the platform.
Absolutely.
Super appreciative of it. I always want to pay homage to my queen. She don't like it. It don't matter. I'm telling we got a rule always. Like if a female ever come and tell you she didn't know about you, just hit her twice.
Yeah.
Off rip, she lying.
Yeah.
So shout out to my baby, my 5 beautiful boys.
Amen.
So if you ever see somebody running around with my face with a different complexion, it's probably
That's
one
one of your
it's
boys.
me.
All right.
Yeah, so
All right.
shout out to my babies. But really with my organization, it's called From Boys to Gentlemen. The focus is bringing the father back into the family equation
Amen.
by developing healthy sons, healthy husbands, healthy fathers, and healthy community contributors. And so that goes with our 4 pillars. We focus on emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, communication skills, and critical thinking. Then we try to execute that out in 3 key areas. First being personal relationships.
Yes.
So just learning what it means to have the peer-to-peer relationship, the business relationship, the father to son type relationship, just all those different elements, romantic, whatever it is. I think not from a judgmental standpoint, but honestly from a societal standpoint, I don't think we do a good job with even establishing boundaries in relationship. So, just having that to go like, hey, that's your homegirl just because she fine.
That's true.
But we ain't been taught that. It's like Pokemon, got to catch them all type
Man,
energy.
yeah, that's
and
real.
so really teaching them to guide through that. Our second is career and education. I have my bachelor's and my master's, and so I have my bachelor's in communication and my master's in human development. And I don't like school. I just keep it buck with you.
I feel that.
But I also realize that a lot of people ain't built for school.
Yeah.
And school ain't built for them.
That's a fact.
And so we always try to take the lens of let's find our career and then match that with the education. Because I'm tired of seeing people with master's degrees working at Walgreens.
I agree.
And so, really matching them with the career.
That's
exposure
part of
to
the
traits.
reason why I was like, man, bro, I have a lot of homeboys that got some degrees, and they're, no. First of all, let me just say, no disrespect to wherever anybody works, but man, I didn't go to school
Your
for
degree didn't require, like your job didn't require that
at
degree.
all.
Now,
You working there, and the dude working next to you
went
19.
to school with you.
You know what I mean? Or he 19 years old, and he like, yeah, man, like,
Your boss.
Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that, but but
No.
that's kind of was my perspective on school as
100%.
well.
So, we try to match career and education. Like, if your career field that you want
Yeah.
requires education, you want to be a teacher, a doctor, absolutely go in and do that. Stop with this random business degrees or psychology degrees that's not directly in the field of counseling or something like that.
Right.
And really stress what type of experience can we establish?
Right.
Where can you intern before you go to college? Teaching them about that and different components like that.
Yeah.
And then finally, to bring it all to the end, learning how to be a community contributor.
Yes.
What does it look like to really be some type of staple within your community, starting in your home, and then being able, one of the things my grandfather always said, the absence of a father doesn't equal the absence of responsibility. Someone or something is going to take that place.
Yeah.
So that's a real focus from that. So we really just focus on developing community. Our sister program is called Queens Take Your Crowns,
Okay.
because I've worked with as many girls as boys, but girls start, I'm tired of wearing from boys to I ain't no boy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. I got
So,
you. I got you.
we put the Queens Take Your Crowns.
Who are you over that, or do you?
Yes.
Okay. So you are
Yes.
over that. Okay.
And so, that's more of a namesake aspect that
I
all
got you.
flows under From Boys to Gentlemen.
I got you.
But it just gives them their own identity in the aspect. We're still teaching much of the same principles.
Right, good.
Definitely fundraising, shameless plug, to get the staff for.
I get it.
Get
Good
to it.
nonprofits, we need help out here, bro. It's real.
Just side note, I think nonprofit should be changed to professional beggar.
Low key, right?
Like, I think that's what we turn into.
Man,
but
and then they be acting like, bro, it'd be crazy because, like, listen, it's nonprofit for a reason. Like, we don't get to just be, get whatever, however,
Yeah.
whenever. Everything has to go to something specific, and it has to be done this way and that way. Yeah, so absolutely.
For sure. So, just in that, a big focus of what we're doing right now is our Bridge the Gap program at Man Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Bridge the Gap, we put a heavy focus on hitting all three areas with students, parents, as well as educators.
Good.
So with the students, we're doing a direct social emotional learning, the 4 pillars, different components like that. Just giving them intentional time during out the day to really just speak life into them.
Right.
Sometimes just catching them between periods will be the difference of whether they're going to make it to the last period.
100%.
And so giving them that for the parents.
Yeah.
My beautiful, lovely, wonderful,
Yeah.
amazing parents.
Yeah.
I want you to hear all of that. The truth be told, sometimes the parents are more immature than the children.
100%.
And that's not an attack. It's an observation. Whether you like the idea of it or not, if you don't got the skills, you don't got the skills.
Well, I coached football for a while.
Bless
And
your heart.
you deal with parents, and it tripped me out, bro. Like,
I done
so
triggered
let me. No.
Go ahead.
I just want to be honest. Like, so this is a part of like the podcast. Like, I don't like for I want. I'm cool with complete. We could be as professional as we want to be, but really,
Nah,
the truth of the
let's
matter is
keep
I'm
it
not
real.
the most professional guy. You know what I mean, in general, but I never understood how a parent you see the same exact skill that I see. I know that I'm
Delusional.
You see the same
You
exact.
delusional.
No, he ain't gonna
Your
be.
baby
the
is
starting
not
quarterback.
Kobe.
He
Yeah.
not. He not. And it's like it's okay, but like you try to explain to him. And of course, listen. When you were a little kid, we gonna make sure everybody play.
Yeah.
But it's like you get mad that he ain't playing as much as you think he should, or this and that. And I'm like, yo,
You seeing the same thing I'm seeing
trying
out
to
here.
Develop, like, come
Yeah.
on. But anyway, so that, when you brought up parents, it made me think about that. Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Where are you? Are you from Abilene? Or?
I am.
Okay, so
Don't
born-
tell nobody else.
Don't tell nobody.
Not just playing,
else.
yeah.
This is between me
Born
and
and raised, yeah.
Born and raised. Okay. Let me ask this, like your upbringing. Did you have your mom and dad? Were you
Raised by my grandparents.
raised by your grandparents?
So-
Can you give me like as comfortable as you are with
100%.
kind of sharing like your upbringing like
So the struggle that came into it, I tell people I had the best and worst of both worlds. I cried myself to sleep at night, wanting to know why this man didn't love me, why he didn't want me. And my biological father had the best father I could ask for, my grandfather. So that tears sometimes even an element of guilt. And so one of the stories I always share is, anybody's familiar with Abilene North in Abilene apartment complex. that it ain't Gary, Indiana, but
Yeah.
but it's the hood though. Don't any type of illegal activity that you looking for, I ain't trying to snitch on nobody. It's available.
Yeah.
And so it's common practice.
Yeah.
And no, you start saying Abilene, oh okay, all right,
Right.
but growing up in that area, especially being short, I'm 5'7", but I grew up short.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have 3 characteristics. You gotta know how to run fast. You gotta know how to talk mess. You gotta know how to fight. You don't got those
100%.
3 characteristics.
Yeah.
It's a rough life for you.
Yeah.
And so we're at the playground over at Jane Long. We on the bridge. We used to call it the dozens. They call it roasting or battling now.
Yeah.
And so we sitting up there. I fresh off in living color.
Yeah.
I ain't got all my little
Everything.
we done seen to it, and I'm ready to give them the business.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting up there. I'm getting the best of them. I'm hitting the ooh.
Yeah.
And then he said something I wasn't prepared for. He said, "At least I know who my daddy is." Ooh. It's time to cry, fight, or both.
Yep.
And so coming from that perspective, I knew that he may have been the first. He wasn't gonna be the last. And as I'm sitting back, I did something for self-protection. It was probably one of the biggest mistakes that I made, but it sounded great at the moment, and I just bought into this lie. I don't care. And that was it. Like, that was my shield. So next time they came back, man, I don't care. Step on the crack, break your mama back. Step on the line, break your daddy's spine. I'm stepping on every crack and line I can just to give the image of, you can't hurt me with that. Now, it looked good outside. I look strong.
Yeah.
Don't nothing bother me. I'm stoic. Well, I don't know if you ever clean your room by throwing everything in the closet.
Yeah.
The room looked good.
Yeah.
But that closet, though. Ooh. And so, the question has to be asked, what happens when somebody else has access to that closet? What's it look like when they open it? And that was me emotionally. I was snapping in places that didn't make no sense because I was a naturally little sweet kid, but I had that pain that I didn't know what to deal with.
And you were young, so you don't even know that.
Nah.
You're doing it.
No, this elementary,
You don't
so.
even know. So, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I
go
just
ahead.
wanted to add it. I feel like I understand that. You said I was a sweet kid. I get that.
Yeah.
But I had a short temper. And now, I don't know if you went through this emotion afterwards, but after you crash out,
Guilt.
and you go, and I had moments where I would cry and go, man,
Yeah.
that ain't even who I am.
It was so bad it'd be times where I would get in a fight and I would run back across the street, hop the fence, go get Star Crunches and oatmeal pies, trying to bribe other people not to tell. And these fights I won. I don't want you to tell nobody because my grandfather was a pastor, PK, and I'm struggling in those elements. And so when I'm snapping in these places that don't make sense, it hit a head with my younger cousin. I'm like 9 or 10 at the time. He only like 2 or 3. And so I'm sitting back and, back in the day, kids spoiled now. They don't know what it's like to have cords on their controllers. I got my Nintendo, and I done wrapped it up real nice and tight, and here he come. He done unraveled it. He wasn't even doing nothing, just pressing on the button. The game wasn't even on. And I just went off. I'm slapping him in the back of the head, and I'm on his back, and I'm just sitting back like, yo, this is crazy. And before I could catch myself, my auntie came in. She grabbed me. She's shaking me. She crying. I'm crying. She crying like, what's wrong with you? This is not you. And I'm embarrassed because I can't answer. What I'm supposed to say, Nintendo, he touched my Nintendo. I knew that wasn't real. It had nothing to do with it. But one thing I did know, I'm finna get this whooping.
You gonna get that?
I'm finna get this whooping.
Yeah.
How old are you? Here. I'm 41.
Okay, so we come from that same.
Yeah,
You gonna get that?
Yeah. I'm finna get this work.
Ain't no gentle parenting. That didn't even exist.
And it's grandparents.
It's even worse.
Yeah,
switching everything.
This is fresh off the plantation whoopings type style. And so, he come, and they were so petty too. You ever rode a roller coaster before?
Of course.
That feeling right before you drop.
Oh, it's the
Man,
worst.
that's how I felt on the edge of that bed. And they was petty because our screen door was loud. They kept letting it slam. So every time it slammed,
Yeah.
So that kept happening. And then finally towards the end, he comes in. And he says that big, deep voice, Chris, come on. Oh, my God. And so finally I stepped out into the hallway. There in the hallway, he's at probably a little bit farther than where that door is. And he said, son, I need you to talk to me. I said, no, Papa. First time in my life I ever told this man no. He said again, son, I need you to talk to me. I said, no, Papa. He said, son, I need you to talk to me. I said something else I never said. Just whoop me. And the reason why I said that, I didn't know how I knew he wanted to talk about my biological father, but in no way, shape, form, or fashion that I was willing to engage that conversation. You talking about a man that had been there every single day of my life, and I'm going to come talk to you about somebody I couldn't pick out of a lineup if my life depended on it,
Yeah.
I'm not about to do that. And so I was willing to take a whooping to avoid that conversation.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, you know, I'm coming forward. I'm getting closer to him to the point where my head is right there on the sternum, and he put his hand behind my head, and he said, "Baby, I need you to talk to me."
Yeah.
And I lost it. You know that Will Smith
I know.
episode?
Yeah.
He was like, "Why you don't want?"
Yeah.
I lived that before I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and telling him like, "Why you don't want me? Why you don't love me? Was I an ugly baby? Was my diaper too bad?" You know, I'm 9 or 10 at the time. I'm trying to rationalize it. Like, why would a daddy leave his son? And it was at that moment my grandfather taught me something that I try to instill in the young men that I work with and the children, whoever it is. He taught me emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
He gave me a safe place to say the things that didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And so to have that type of experience and being able to see him, you know, he was Superman in my eyes. Like my grandfather, I tell people, I couldn't beat, I've always been fast. I couldn't beat my grandfather in running until I was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
And this is my grandpa, not my daddy.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's Superman. We were at, I did Boy Scouts for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we were playing the field day. All that stuff is going.
My favorite.
And, you know, at the end of it's the daddy-son relay. And so they talking mess. They like, oh, you know, your daddy's, your papa, oh, you know.
Yeah.
Now let me put the picture into all these other daddies. They got their Nike stuff on. You know, 'cause my papa pulled up, looked like the Black John Wayne. He got cowboy boots, jeans. I'm like, but that's him though.
Yeah, that's
and
him,
so
yeah.
you know, he woke up, and I'm a little embarrassed because of all the other kids, and I had this brief little moment, like, wait a minute, my papa fast.
Yeah.
Like he real
About
fast.
to win.
And so, you know, I ain't trying to lose nothing. I'm already competitive. So I get up, bust that you had to run to the gym and back to the playground. I done took off.
Yeah.
Came back. I'm handing him the baton, and he stood there. And I'm having a conniption fit, like, go now. What you doing? I done talked all this mess.
Yeah.
He let about 2 or 3 dads get the baton. Man, he got the kick in them boots, dusted everybody. Came back, picked me up, put me up for, you know, little, and I'm petted in the mug. I'm looking at the other kids that was talking mess. It's like, who need to call 911 now? Yeah.
For real.
Your dad looked like he finna have an asthma attack. Like, but I think that where it got real to me, like the friend that I really had in my grandfather. Before, he was just this mountain of wisdom, this safe place in different components. But once I got to that real, like, hey, this my daddy. Oh, this my daddy for real. You always been Pawpaw, but you my daddy.
Did is he still around?
No, he passed in 03.
I'm sorry, man. And so I have a question, and maybe you can answer this. I don't know. Do you know what do you know about your mom and dad? Like what? Like were they? Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what happened. And
no,
you might not have that what happened answer, but like
for
do
the
you
most
know
part,
anything about
mother was immature.
Yeah.
Were
they young parents?
So about 23.
Okay.
You know, young.
Okay.
My potential biological father was in the military. For what I know of it, my mom, you know, got pregnant.
Yeah.
Didn't have any this wasn't no relationship type thing. You know, when you out doing grown stuff happens.
Yeah,
And so my father, potential biological father, didn't really know about me. Or didn't really know whether he was daddy or not.
Yeah.
You know, no disrespect to my mom, but
No.
in that same aspect, you know, when you active, you active.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of that component. And then a couple months after I was born, my mother wasn't mature enough, so she left me with my grandparents and ended up moving to Austin.
Okay.
And so I was with my grandparents, you know, my whole life in regards to that. But just that aspect of that phantom character that you build, you know, you start seeing stuff on TV and it's like, you know, you start to create that to be your mom. Like, oh, my mom is like this, like that, and we're going to be reunited someday. And then you have to find sometimes that's not how it is. That's not what it is.
So you never had a relationship with her at all?
I did. It was extremely toxic from a standpoint of, you know, she was never really able to forgive herself. For that abandonment aspect, so we couldn't go forward with anything. And then, you know, some of those demons that she was trying to battle and overcome, sometimes it just put in a situation. And that was probably one of the hardest things for me once I had kids. I had to make that decision of, hey, I got to choose protection of my children. Not to say she did anything
Oh,
nefarious,
I
or
got
nothing,
you. But
but
yeah,
it was just that aspect of one of the hardest things. I came to my mom and told her, it's like, I love you. I'm breaking relationship with you. Not to say you can't call, but if you call and I don't answer, it's because I don't want to. And if I answer, it's because I want to. And only I get to determine that. And that's a hard thing to tell your mother.
100%.
And so, but that was one of the first steps in real manhood for me, because even with my children, one of the things I tell them, God forbid, I ever lose any of my mental faculties or anything, but I know that it's important to set boundaries before it comes at that time. And I told them, if I ever become a toxic presence in your life, I'm not just asking you, I'm commanding you, break relationship with me. And so if I set that standard for me,
Yeah.
nobody else can come and move and think that their position or their connection grants them some type of misuse
Yeah.
for them. So I think it's important for our kids to understand that as you go into adulthood, we like to say phrases, particularly in our community. They would like to say things like, well, that's still your mama, that's still your daddy.
Yeah.
But you need to put that other part in there. That's still my abuser. That's still my abandoner. That's still the person that misused me under whatever capacity.
Yeah.
So you don't get to use one without considering the other.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, what's crazy is it's making me think about all kinds of stuff, like just thinking about it. And I know that I've been into a lot of prisons, like to I've ministered in a bunch of prisons all over the United States. And I have been in the cell with because we've been blessed enough to where they would let us go into pods, like actually
Yeah.
go in there and have these conversations with you guys, not just in the gym or anything, and talking to guys who are in prison for life,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and it's absolutely insane. I don't think it's insane to me anymore, but I know the first time I heard it, I didn't. You hear a grown man who's never getting out of prison say, "Man, bruh, I just wish my dad would have been there for me.
Yeah.
Or I wish my dad would have loved me." And a lot of these things, like the basis of like just that love, like it's because you'll make a young person feel not wanted, unworthy, unlovable. And in that, like sometimes that was hard for me to accept God's love
100%.
because I was like, I don't mean to get emotional about it, but I'm like, man, I already know what love is. Love is, conditional. You start learning about God's characteristics, and they don't look nothing like what you have interpreted
Right.
love as. And so, for me, my thing was my biological father left early. My stepfather stepped in though
Yeah.
and raised me. And so, here's the crazy thing about how important a father is, and or at least having a father figure, is that my stepfather came into my life. I think I was like 6, and he raised me all like a grown man, and my biological father was always, my city where I'm from ain't huge. He was always 20 minutes away at least, 15, 20 minutes away, sometimes 10 minutes, sometimes 5 minutes. Sometimes I pass by his house every time I'm going home, right? And so that part of it was like, like, dang, like, and if you meet him, bro, he's like super charismatic, funny dude, handsome guy, like, boom, he's like all these different things. It's funny, it's like I could see my characteristics from him, but like he's all these things, but he just was never there. In fact, his sister, who was one of my favorite aunts, she passed away, like 6, 7 months ago. I would go to her house, and I stayed the night. My cousins, we were really close, so I was really close with her. I was at their house almost every weekend, and there'd be weekends that I would go there, and he'd be there, and they'd be like, "What's up? What's up?" And that'd be that. I go play with my cousins.
Yeah.
And so in that, you do feel that like man, like it's kind of whack, you know what I mean? But by then, now, like if I'm being honest, and I know you run into this with, when you do a mentorship, it's like, the streets kind of at this point, like I'm involved over here.
Yeah.
That now my mom was there, but my mom and dad were actually were gang members as well, though.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my life at the crib, even my stepfather, right? But here, fast forward and past, not trying to get deep into my whole testimony, but my mom and dad, it was my stepfather, but my dad got a divorce about 7 years ago, 6, 7 years ago. And I lost communication with my dad after that. Check this out. Dang, this makes me emotional every time. I went through a really hard time the last few years, just with everything. And I just remember sitting there and being like, bruh, this is the hardest time of my life. Man, I need my dad, bruh. And I couldn't find him.
Yeah.
A grown man, though.
Mm.
I ain't talking about when I was 14.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when I was 16. I'm talking about 38.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm crying. Grown man. My wife like, what's wrong? I'm like, I miss my dad.
Yeah.
I need my dad right now. So we don't even realize, like, how deep this goes. It doesn't disappear. I didn't stop missing my dad. I didn't stop needing my dad because I was a grown man. In fact, I was going through a new season as a grown man where I'm dealing with, like,
You need him more than ever. Yeah.
thank you for this stuff that you helped me with. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for all of that. But boy, if you could show up right now,
Man.
I'm going through something I never experienced, and it'd be dope if you pulled up on me right now.
Like,
So
just even listening to you, cause my grandfather passed when I was 18.
yeah,
So I almost didn't graduate because I literally was walking into class trying to keep the straight face, everything. I was broken. Like, I lost my daddy. I lost my best friend.
yeah,
That was the one person, you know, no disrespect to my grandmother, but my grandmother was real. She was country with it.
yeah.
Like, you know, even from an athletic standpoint, my grandfather didn't help me with sports. My granny was my coach. And
Yeah.
you don't get no sympathy
Hey, nah.
when your granny.
And
So
she a woman. She like,
oh
boy,
my
man
God.
up.
So
Yeah.
she, you know, she was uber athletic, and I remember when I was playing baseball. Now it was this big kid named Big John Gonzalez. Shout out to Big John.
Yeah.
But you know, he was our size at like 9,
yeah.
10. Like, you talking about big, just broadly. And when he used to make the ball hiss. I don't know if
Yeah.
you ever played baseball before, but that little snap, with
Yeah.
the, you know,
Yeah.
the catcher
Yes.
dodge. You got a whole mask on. Why you
Yeah.
catching this big?
Yeah.
But that boy was launching that thing, and so he was up there, and he threw it close one time, and you know, I had stepped back, and before that, it was so bad that like some people would literally just take their 3 strikes
Skip it.
because they were scared to get in the bed. And it was like, what we supposed to do? We can't make him go in there.
Yeah.
Man, when I say my granny snatched, I don't know how she got her fingers through that fence. She snatched me by the shirt. If you don't get your butt in there, I was like, I was going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. So, you know,
Yeah.
I got the little hit. But after that, she put me on the side of the house. She told me to grab my glove, put me on the side of the house. She was like, face that way. I was like, okay. She's like, when I call your name, turn around. She threw the ball, and then she called my name, turned around. I still remember hit me right in my collarbone. I was like, she was like, you better find it. So she just kept doing that to teach me not be scared of balls. So I tell that story to say, like, what sympathy you think I was getting?
Yeah.
She was my bully
Yeah.
in a good way. But,
Yeah.
you know, most people, it's normally the mom telling the dad, like, "Are you doing something?" No, she was.
Yeah.
But, you know, my grandfather was more on the, like, it's not a day go by where I'm not quoting him on something that he said, something he gave. But once he passed, man, that dark place, like, and it kind of goes into what you were saying. I lost my grandfather senior year. I went into college, and I've always been intelligent as far as academics. I wasn't emotionally prepared. I wasn't psychologically prepared to keep, because it's different in college, because you can disappear.
Yeah.
Like, hey, if you don't show up, you don't show up.
Yeah, that's on you. Yeah.
And so, you know, hiding in the dorm, hiding in other places, I was grateful for a couple people that was able to actually see me, and they helped me not disappear fully.
Yeah.
And so, but just to have him in what you were saying, I'm like, man, I need you more now than ever.
Yep.
And so a lot of those lessons and stuff that he gave, as grateful as I was from him, it was like, I just need somebody that ain't against me.
Yeah.
I need somebody to love me, not for what I can do, but when things is ugly and it's tough, because a lot of people don't understand, like even in our neighborhoods, it's okay to not know who your daddy is.
Unfortunately.
When you say you don't know who your mom, like you go and be like, I don't know my daddy. They be like, man, I don't know my daddy. It's whatever. You say, man, I don't know my mama. You don't know your mama? Like, your daddy leaving was because of him. Your mama leaving is because of you. And so it was hard to process that. So it's hard. You know, it's hard enough with a father, but when a mother abandons you, it kind of comes in that aspect. Who gonna stay? You never expect anybody to stay when your mother leave. Like this person, you literally like you had a whole umbilical cord connected to this person, and they saw the ability to leave you. Who's gonna have any reason to stay?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I try to really work against, especially when I'm working with young kids, is that performative love. Like I get love if I do a certain thing.
Yes.
You know, that can be perverted very easily.
Easy.
And so just really trying to navigate that need of a father, like I needed him. He gave me a lot of wisdom, but I needed him.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you know, I won't go too deep into it, but in that aspect, I ran into a mentor / pastor that ended up being a cult leader. And so, you know, being in that aspect, I went through a whole experience of just, you know, church abuse, spiritual abuse in that regards. And, you know, I'm looking, oftentimes I was like, man, my papa was alive, it never would have happened. But he wouldn't, and that was the reality. So it was hard, but it was also a lesson for me in saying, like, kind of that what I was telling, that quote of the absence of a father doesn't equal the absence of responsibility. Yes. Someone or something is going to fill that place. And I think the uncomfortable truth is I see a lot of places where, you know, not trying to attack church or anything close to that, gangs do a better job of recruiting than churches do.
100%.
They do a better job of forming relationship, connection, giving you a place, and they do it better than churches. They do it better than families. The places that are really supposed to provide that, you get mad when they show this blind allegiance, but that's who fed them. 100%. When they was being picked on, that's who pulled up. You know, that's who fought the stepdaddy and different components like that. Yeah. So I think that sometimes, as misguided as things can be, we keep ignoring what's directly in our face. If you're not willing to show up and meet that need, somebody is. Yeah. And when they meet that need, it's going to come with a certain level of allegiance for the most part.
100%.
And so I definitely hear you as you say that, because, I mean, it just makes you so vulnerable. Because when you're, you know, my granny used to say, don't go to the store hungry. I knew it then, but boy, I know it now.
I know it
boy,
now. Yeah, for
when
sure.
you really responsible for it's coming out your pocket.
Yeah.
Don't you go to the store.
You be like, why did I get salt and vinegar? I don't even eat salt and vinegar.
I don't even like it. It just sounded good when you was hungry. But you know, if there's that much for physical food, how much is it for emotional intention?
Absolutely.
And so having that that need met before you go into certain places. You know, sometimes the presence of a father isn't for so much to just punk everybody, but, you know, the goal is, you know, I don't have any daughters. I tell people, I had my mentoring saved me from getting girls at the home because I had to deal with so many outside. Yeah. I love the babies, but boy. A girl could put you through a drama the boy can't even imagine.
I got 2 girls.
Bless your heart.
Yeah, 2 girls in the sun. Yeah,
Jesus.
Yeah.
But, you know, just in that aspect of when I do work with the girls, I used to tell them I'm the number one hater. And just let it be known, like, I'm going to hate on every bit of their game because I know what they're going with.
100%.
But if I can establish a healthy aspect of love, you're not going into the store hungry.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How much of those relationships, like with your mom and dad not being there, how much did you feel like there was some any kind of obstacle with you getting married, or was it something that made you, like, you know, like, how much of that played into that? And then let me ask this other thing too, the 2-part question. How much of how you were raised and she was raised completely, I'm sure maybe completely different or maybe similar, how much did that cause you to clash in your everyday thing and how you raise your kids?
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm just, you know.
No, that's real. Yeah. To answer that first part.
And look, I want you to listen, sidebar, we just super raw here, so there's nothing that we don't talk about. Anything you ain't comfortable talking about, I'm with you on that too.
Hey, it ain't nothing I'm gonna say now that you ain't gonna find on another video somewhere else. So I respect that, but I get you. I appreciate the raw approach to it. As far as marriage, I didn't even know what marriage was.
Right.
Like, I saw TV. Even with my grandparents, they didn't even sleep in the same bed. So, like, my idea of marriage was always more of a partnership. An example, roommates. I can only think of one of my aunties that was married. So even within my family, men were not really around. And so you're looking at it from a perspective of trying to understand those things that you're talking about. So what do you go to? You go to movies. You go to other examples. And a big example of it was the Hispanic family. So man that's little Mexico over there.
Yeah.
Even to it, like, I was fluent in Spanish when I was younger until my cousin started making fun of me. So I would, sit down and I'd be saying stuff in Spanish when I'm down playing with my toys or games, and they come in, oh, little Paco, little taco. Like,
That's crazy.
and so now, like, I was embarrassed. They kept saying it, but they was only saying it because they didn't know it. And if I had more confidence, boy, and now I be kicking myself, like, boy, what would you look like bilingual right now?
Yeah, for sure.
But if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
And so just having those experiences, sitting back, seeing, I think I got an uncomfortable reality check of just the nastiness of what an experience of a abused woman can be. And I think sometimes we look at the surface of the circumstances, we don't look at the root.
Yeah.
And so having experienced my cousins who were abused, now I became the target of their abuse.
Yeah.
And so you're looking at it and you have these experiences and you trying to, meanwhile, you trying to do all this with a pubescent mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't got the maturity, I don't have the skill set, I don't have the psychological knowledge or any of that. You just know you doing me bad, and that's what you form your opinion off of. So having to sift through all of that, I remember a lot of people used to tell me, Chris ain't gonna date no black woman. I was like, man, I love black women. What you mean?
Yeah.
But they were saying that based off of my relatives, and they had a good case to go.
Yeah.
It's just like, and a lot of that broken behavior
Yeah.
comes to it, and then sometimes instead of actually addressing it, we try to defend it or we try to justify it, which allows it to embolden and continue instead of saying like, hey, we checking this because we don't want this to move forward, and we're gonna give you the skill set and the healing and the support to do. We don't do that. It's just like, oh, you an angry black woman. I ain't like that. It's like, but it's a reason why she angry though.
For sure.
And so I'm not excusing the behavior, but can we at least explain it?
Yeah.
And so that was my mentality going forward. But going through that whole process, I was trying to earn love. So, I had the ugly boy complex of, my granny told me I was ugly all the time. And she wasn't saying it to be facetious. She didn't want me to be conceited. So I remember we was at the store one time at Unite. It's funny because it's back when United's floor was red and white. That show you how long I've been here.
I don't know. I ain't been on here long enough to even know nothing about that.
So I'm sitting back and I'm looking. This lady came up and she was like, oh, you so handsome. I said, nah, I'm ugly. My granny said I was ugly. My granny slapped me in the back of the head. I'm looking like you did.
You tell me all the time.
You just told me I was ugly in the car. But I know not to say that.
Yeah.
But, in just that aspect. And, it wasn't until I got older that I realized, oh, she was just saying that so you wouldn't be conceited.
Yeah.
And I remember she used to say something that stuck with me. She said, you can't be ugly twice. And basically, I was like, well, I better have a nice personality. Because I think the added salt to it is it's your granny.
Yeah.
You think, like, the way society says, like, your granny is the one to tell you beautiful, regardless of what you look like.
Yeah.
That was my experience. That was, my granny was, you ugly. And so now I'm sitting back and trying to force this conversation of, hey, I don't know how to deal with this when I go into dating.
Yeah.
And, so the performative measure kicks in. When I'm dancing, when I'm doing sports, unfortunately, if I'm getting into a physical altercation, those were things that were attractive in those places. Yeah. And so I never felt like anybody was going to care about me.
Yeah.
And so we get into it, and this is my second marriage. My first marriage, it was tough just from the aspect of I felt like my ex-wife was in love with the idea of me, not actually me. Like, she liked the attention that could be garnered or whatever the case may be. And so when we end up into this abusive situation with the cult that I was referring to, it made things difficult because they exploited that instead of helping us. Like, the pastor was counseling us separately for years.
Wow.
And literally coaching me to do the things that she was saying she was uncomfortable with and deeming it as you got to be in control of your household.
Dang.
So, I ain't never really been tripping on money or anything like that. It's like, okay, I'm good at living below my means, so I ain't really tripping. And so I'm making enough to do whatever. She make a bad decision, all that means, okay, you got to go cut some grass. So that means that, when I was working at Sprint in a sales job, that commission check going to have to overcome whatever it is. And so he comes to me and he's like, hey, if you really want to be a man of your household, you got to know where every dollar is, this different stuff. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so when she wants to do something, I don't care if it's Starbucks or McDonald's, she has to ask you. I'm like, that seems a little control, a little much. He was like, okay, if you don't want, he kind of pulled that job. If you don't want to listen to me. No, I was like, no. That's let me try it. Not knowing she had said like her fear was that I was going to become controlling financially.
That's crazy.
So his manipulation was on God tier.
Yeah.
But it just came back to, that marriage being torn up. I'm not understanding what love means.
Yeah.
And, the struggle that comes into that. I didn't know how to love myself. And that self-love is not something that's really focused on. It's often frowned upon. Like, we guys humility and self-hatred. And so it's really focused on moving forward. And in my first marriage, having my first 3 kids, and it was tough because the ultimate struggle that came behind that is like, what am I modeling for my kids?
Mm-hmm.
Because even in the marriage, I'm fighting tooth and nail for the marriage. We ended up getting a divorce, and the separation that came from it. Now I'm a single father.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to process this all out. And then I ended up getting in another relationship. And my son tells me after that relationship, so I was in that relationship for about 3 years. And he comes to me after I met my wife, and, we're married. He says, Dad, it's good to see you happy. I said, wait.
Man.
What? What you mean? Because I'm, as fathers, as parents, we think we got it all together. They don't see nothing. They see everything.
They see everything.
Them kids,
Yeah.
they are CIA agents.
They do.
And so, I'm thinking that I got it all together, only to come to find out I'm modeling a certain level of accepting abuse. Not physically, but, just the disrespect.
Yes.
Learning to not be cared about, these crash outs and different components like that. So I'm really focused now on, answering your question as far as marriage. It was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Because number one, I didn't know. You just
what
tossed
is it?
me in the middle of the sea and said swim.
Can I ask you, the dude that was like the pastor, mentor guy, was he married?
Yes.
Okay.
So, man.
But, not to get super deep into that.
Yeah.
But because I can understand the whole aspect of trying to, this was the first person that you see with a successful marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he was doing behind closed doors, but what I see as a successful marriage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that advice because I've never seen anything like that before. So it was like, I was just wondering.
And that was a hard part about it. Like even within it, he was super charismatic, great with the word. He was super intentional. But he was the one that taught me. I have a phrase. I say, some people are introverts with a high social battery. He had a mid social battery, but he was so good at making you feel like you was the only person on the planet, and he could throw some scripture in behind it. But ultimately, he was brilliant. Yeah. And so some of the things that could have been spiritual gifting was simultaneously a little psychological manipulation. Yeah. And that's where things started to flip, because you even look at the dynamic of the church. Anybody had no daddy in the church? Mm-hmm. That was his target point. And he was able to, tear up marriages. He was able to do certain things. And a lot of it was because you coming from that broken place. And I don't want to lose daddy's love. Yep. So, the thing that really, made the shift for me was once I started seeing certain things, I had still attributed it to the church. Yeah. I didn't find out till later that it was him, really puppeting in the strings. And then when it got exposed, it got so bad to the point where he actually put a criminal trespass on me from the church, which was smart. And the reason why I say it was smart is because he had took advantage of all of the information that I gave. So he knew my struggles. He knew my tendencies. We're super close, but he just kept knocking on the door I didn't live at anymore. And so trying to provoke me in certain ways, he's putting out this, Chris is violent, Chris is this, Chris is that. And the people are looking around like, we got to protect him. What's this? Yeah. But the problem was you kept saying that, and that ain't what they was experiencing. Right. And so when it came down to some of the, financial abuse and different stuff that was going on, you go to your pastor and they say, like, hey, we doing debt freedom, or we doing sacrificial offering to get past a $1,300 helicopter. Yeah. But then you turn around and you're getting denied for groceries. Right. You're getting denied for certain things. And so that was the part that really kicked me in my chest. But to flip back, other people didn't understand how much work he did behind the scenes to demand a certain level of loyalty, what was really just dependent on fear. He was great at getting you to the point of tapping into your abandonment issues, to the point where he could just hold that over you, and the thought of losing him or being
Yeah.
ostracized, it came to a point where, you know, how he was moving with me, some people were like, don't mess around and get Chrised. Like, I became a whole verb.
Oh shoot, your people was getting mossed and crisped.
Hey.
That's crazy.
But, you know, just in the aspect of how he was able to, you know, because at that point they packed up, like they were getting ready to move to California.
Yeah.
And so he's packing up the whole church and stuff. But the ostracization he was able to do to me, the fact that, you know, I was in visitation with my kids, he convinced my wife for the divorce, different components and stuff like that. It was hard because, like, this not just a pastor doing this. You supposed to be my daddy.
Yeah.
Like, you came in at that time right after my grandfather had passed.
And somebody I needed, and
And like, you got the most intimate information about me, but as we start to pull away, it's like, dang. And so one of the hardest realizations to come with that, I was going through it. Like, after the divorce and the stuff that was happening, I was embarrassed, I was hurt, struggling, and I don't drink or anything like that. But I just remember being at, like, I don't know if it was a restaurant or a bar, and I was just sitting there, you know, and this old head came up to me, and I don't know why I told him my whole life story. Like, I was just so isolated at that point, came in and told him. He said something I'll never forget. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup if you ask right now, and I don't forget faces.
Yeah.
But sitting there, and he said, you know, he talked to me. He said, what you got going on? I kept asking the question, why would a pastor do this? Why would a pastor do this? Why would a pastor do this? He said, Youngblood, you using the wrong P word. I was like, what you mean? He's like, I want you to ask every question you just asked me, and instead of pastor, say pimp. And when I said that, it was like, that's what a pimp's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what a pimp's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, in the aspect of, that was for me, that was a very pricey, hard lesson of learning what happens when you put a man before God.
Man.
And when you have that element of experience, it changes your dynamic. But also, you know, there was a constant fight to say, I'm not going to take my experience with him and place it on everywhere else.
Yeah.
But when I do see the same foolishness,
Yeah.
game recognized game.
And I think the good thing, though, I'm grateful, because I was going to ask you this.
Hey, for anybody who's interested, listen, Nehemiah Abilene is a year-long faith-based military-style program who just helps with recovery. And, you know, we believe in getting every man restored back to where they're supposed to be as a head of their house and head of their family, and just restore back to the identity that God had for them from the very beginning. So just go to NehemiahAbilene.org, go check it out, and see what the program is about. God bless y'all.
You know, relationship, like, sounds abusive, and I know you don't want to go deep into that. Maybe we'll talk more off camera. But what I'm grateful for is what you said that God shared with you, and I don't know if you was at a bar, restaurant, whatever, but he shared with you about, like, that's what a pimp does. And I think what's so good about that, just that. Listen, I feel like, and look, I'm like, can be considered like a spiritual weirdo. I believe in all the gifts and everything. I believe in healings. I believe in the real God of the Bible from the beginning to the end. And people go, well, we don't do that no more. Well, show me. I've seen miracles in real life. So
Yeah.
I believe that God sent the right person at the right time at that moment to separate between who he called and who somebody became.
Yeah.
Right? And in that, I feel like God was trying to cut off the tactic of the enemy for you to automatically equate God with something negative
Abuse.
Because of this. Abuse because of this negative thing. Can you speak to that? Because I think that that's important, because I do know that I just have a relationship with God that I understand that every man in this world, every woman, are very, very capable of completely letting me down or doing something wrong to me or foul to me.
100%.
That goes from my kids to my wife to my homeboys, everything. And I don't think that they will, but I'm just saying I will never ever let any man in the world be this to where they did something and now it's on God.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can give me a little bit of that, like your perspective, like after that, and like your relationship with God, and how did it affect your relationship with God, or did it not, or was God able to, like, just, if you wouldn't mind just jumping into that, you know?
Absolutely. The major takeaway from it was relationship.
Yeah.
And I think it becomes so difficult. I'm professional at playing church. I grew up playing church. I know how to tilt my head. I know the pace of the drums that you're supposed to play. I know what melody is gonna make you more empathetic to give, like
Yeah.
innately. This wasn't no class.
I get it.
But when you pull back, you be like, oh, we was really
I get it.
we was really playing this
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so that becomes a struggle. I think one of the hardest conversations I had was, God could. I got in trouble for this. This is when I was in, my teenage years.
Yeah.
But I remember saying it because the person kept trying to, promote God and all this different stuff and say all this. And I said, God can get you to convulse all over the church. You call it shouting, whatever. He can get you to do that. He can get you to empty your bank account. He can get you to do all these different things. He can't take that bottle out your hand. He can't make you keep your hands to yourself when it comes to your wife. And like that challenge wasn't as much of a challenge as if it was an honest inquiry. Like, why is it that you want to tell me the spirit move, but the spirit ain't moving to get you to see that your child is struggling with suicidal thoughts right now?
Yeah.
So, you felt like somebody financial standing of what they need to do and how they not paying their tithes was more important than somebody actual struggle with either mental health, emotional health, or whatever it is. So it was a battle because I've seen church be played very well, and I've been guilty of playing church very well. So that aspect of relationship, it kind of birthed my mentality on, first my direct personal relationship with God, but then the flip side of that is, what if I can't say a word? How I treat you and how I carry you. The only question I want answered is, would you want to come to God after how I treated you? Because I've seen people preach amazing messages.
Yeah.
I've seen you be gifted. Like you said, I think you were alluding to the gift comes without repentance.
Yeah.
And so, it's some people, no disrespect, I done seen crackheads prophesy accurately.
No, 100%.
So, they
Absolutely.
ain't nowhere near the church.
Yeah.
But they gave a message directly on point, biblically sound.
Yeah.
And so I've seen that, but it comes to that aspect of, okay, what does the relationship look like though?
Yeah.
Because that sermon has limitations. That quote unquote prayer has limitations.
Yeah.
But relationship comes in the standpoint of when it says that peace that passes all understanding.
Absolutely.
If you ain't experienced that.
Yeah. And you don't even have a framework to even understand that.
Yeah.
Like
it's innate, past understanding.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you haven't had an opportunity to really experience that, and I've seen, I've gotten in trouble with ministers before from just saying stuff directly in the regards of, what we're not gonna do is bash somebody else's circumstances and ignore how they got there. So you want to call a girl promiscuous or whatever name, Jezebel, whatever this case may be. You don't want to address that you stood idly by when she was molested by people in the church. And we don't want to have that conversation. I'll have it, whether you put me out or not.
Yeah.
And, it's not about trying to go for vengeance or any of it. But when you sit down and you're responsible for a young lady or a young man that has found enough courage to sit in front of you and not even say no names, but to say, Mr. Chris, how do I listen when he violated me? How do I listen when she violated me? When they say that, we can't continue to try to do the politically correct thing or what's good for the image of the institution. Where is it where I fear the responsibility of this soul more than the social acceptance of an organization?
It's crazy because I've been in church most of my life. Like I had my mom and dad at home. That was one part of life. Weekend when I would go to my grandma's, that you was going to church.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a mixture of both. But the weird thing was like trying not. I feel like this will make sense to you. Doing the church stuff and playing church, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
Right? These are the things you're supposed to do at church and you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
Right? And all the time, I always say this, and they probably heard me say this before too, is that I would have all of these different things that I never dealt with, ever. And they would go, give it to God. And I'm like, I don't even know how to do that.
What does that
Like,
mean?
I'm trying that every day. Now, I'm sharing it with you because, and they're like, man, I'm telling you, that stuff, man, you got to give it to God. And I'm like, bro, where do I set it outside?
Was it a drop off point?
Yeah.
You
Do
got
I
an
put it?
address for me?
Do
I'm
I
giving
put it?
it.
Yeah, is it a P.O. box?
Yeah.
That I could just write it in? And that's not even me being funny. Like, I understand that more now, but I didn't get that. And here's the truth. Here's the real truth. Been walking with the Lord for 16 years. I probably have walked with the Lord fake for 14 years. People gonna watch this,
Hey,
and they're gonna probably feel some type of way, because you have to understand that I've been in a ministry that went all over the world for the last 10 years.
yeah.
Now, let me be very, very clear, because they'll clip that little part and be like, I told you he wasn't a real Christian. But here's the clarity of that, is that I thought I was deceived in my own mind, thinking that I
Absolutely.
was doing all the things that I was supposed to be doing in the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about the stuff that I struggle with, but I would talk about, like, I thought that, like, and let me be really, really clear, because God, let me tell you something about God. For people who don't know, He's a big God, and He will operate in anything that you got going on, and He will do some powerful stuff, and you will see some powerful stuff. But in that, like, what I mean by being fake is that I was carrying so much stuff with me, bro.
Mm-hmm.
From just being a kid that I never talked about with anybody.
Yeah.
My wife, never talked to her about it. Nobody. And here was my defining moment. I hate bringing this up, but I have to, because, and I brought it up before, but I have to bring it up because it pertains to this. It started young with my mom, and I was trying to explain something to her.
Mm-hmm.
Of why I was no longer afraid of something. To me, it was like a conquering moment, and I went to share with my mom, because I'm like, yo, I don't have to be scared of this thing anymore. And she mocked me,
Yeah.
and she was like, shut up, she's like, and she, like, her exact words to me was like, man, I'm trying to do something, you telling me I don't have to be scared, because this is exactly what she did to me. That day, I was only 10, maybe. That day, I was like, cool.
Closed off.
People don't want to hear what you feeling. They don't want to hear about your feelings. They don't want to hear about that, because your mama don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was it. So I got married to a woman that never knew my true feelings about anything.
Yeah.
The next time, check this out. And it's all. I know now it's all the enemy. The next time that I wanted to share some true feelings, me and my wife we just weren't in a good place at this time. And I told her, I said, hey, I just wanted to, and before I told her, the enemy was like, if you tell her, she's going to laugh at you.
Weaponize it.
Yeah. And I was like, nah. I was like, so one day I'm like, man, I just want to tell you, man, like, I feel like you like me. I mean, I feel like you love me, but you don't like me. And she went, and I went, oh, okay.
Bet.
Yeah. I was like, I walked away, and I was like, he was right. He was right. Like, cool. And so most of my feelings I never shared. In that, if I'm gonna be honest, and this ain't nothing I'm proud of, I share my feelings with other women, right?
Looking for that emotional support.
Because they are listening, but they not really. Because they don't really.
They gaming.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
way you are, kind of too, and it caused a lot of stuff in my marriage.
Mm-hmm.
My fault. But it goes back to that being a kid thing, where I get into a fight, boom, boom, and that ain't really who I am. When I get by myself, I'll be like, man, God, why I can't get this part right? And I'm talking to other women, and I'm doing this stuff, and that ain't who I want to be. And so, with the ministry that I'm at right now, we do a thing with the men, so you do mentorship with younger people, and I want to correlate those two here too. And I do a lot of it with men, grown men. Some of them older than me. And we go through this thing called Purify.
Mm.
And it literally is from the beginning to the end. It goes over everything from generational curses to childhood trauma to what your parents went to, your grandparents. There's actually one thing where you write down, it has all of these things, drugs, adultery, boom, boom, boom. It has all these things written down. And you got this thing where it goes great grandparents, grandparents, mom and dad, you, kids, and it goes, hey, just write down if you know anything to all of them, and I'll start writing them down, and I'm just crying tears on the thing because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not blaming them, but it's been a part of my family for generations.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing it again.
I caught
And
the
then
handoff.
Yeah, and the hardest part is like, man, God, please don't let this go to my son and my daughter. And I be praying that. I pray that still to this day. But in it, I went through this whole curriculum from beginning to end, and it was crazy because I was at the time I wasn't the assistant director yet. I was just on staff, and I'm in there with a bunch of men who just not coming to Christ, and I'm this dude who a lot of them know for traveling, doing music, and boom, 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 and I'm in every class boo-hooing my eyes out. And I went, and then they've heard this before, but I'm gonna share with you. I went to I went through some stuff, and then I went outside and my wife came pick me up. At the time, we only had one vehicle. She came pick me up, and I've been crying. And I look at her, and I was like, man, I'm so sorry that I married you. And my wife's like, what? Like, tripping. But I was like, yo, like, I made you become, like, my nurse. And the first thing she said was what she always said, it's okay. And I stopped her. I'm like, it's not okay. Like, I'm trying to tell you, like, because you've been saying it's okay for so long, I have bled on you over and over.
Mm-hmm.
You've become my nurse. You didn't sign up for that. You had your own stuff.
Yeah.
And we should have been growing together. But instead, I'm just messing up, bleeding on you. And you're just like, it's okay. I'll wipe it. It's okay. And that part broke me because it's not fair for my wife to had to go through the stuff that she had to go through before I got it together. And here was the thing, because of the church. And let me just say, I don't deal with nobody like church slander. But what I'm saying is, because of the church's lack of understanding that, and telling me to give it to God, the things that I talked about the last year and a half, I never said out loud out of my mouth. And what made me so blessed that this was a ministry and a recovery place was that it talked about all the things that I never had conversations about. And it was I turned 40 next week, bro. It's the first time I've been healed in my life.
Yeah.
And I've been preaching to people all over the world. And this is the last thing I'll share. You know how many times I was preaching to other people about them being healed and being set free? And in my mind, saying, I would go back and I'll be by myself and I'll be like, man, I hope they get it because it's too late for me.
I'm going to target that right back to what you were saying, just from the aspect of, think of Paul or Saul, however you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Saul, I say he was the devil #1 draft pick.
For sure.
Killing it.
He was doing
Literally.
He was definitely the Jordan of killing Christians.
He was out there doing it.
Yeah.
But there was at no point in time that he didn't think he was right.
Absolutely.
It wasn't let me be knowledgeable about a God that what it is and I just rebel against. That's why the whole aspect of being knocked off his beast was so important. And, as I hear you talk, it's like, yeah, we got this. What I hear you saying is, don't think that I was out there playing. I just didn't know.
Yeah, and I thought I did.
Yeah.
And I thought I was doing the right thing.
I thought I was doing the right thing.
And I would get offended for anybody to say anything other than
so
that.
when Saul came out, he wasn't no shame in what he did. It was the recognition of the damage.
Yeah.
And I offer that same thing to you. Utilize that. It's like, hey, when I was playing for the devil, I played hard.
Yeah.
But I still had guy's jersey on.
Yeah.
I was just playing for the wrong team. So just imagine being on a basketball team and you stealing from your teammates and shooting in the wrong basket.
Why?
That's you see that why the only reason you would say that is because of the jersey they got on.
Yeah, it's real.
When you start to realize you playing for the wrong team,
Yeah.
like I can have the jersey, I can look fresh, I can say all the right things, but I'm shooting in the wrong basket and I'm attacking my teammates. I'm helping the enemy. And I think that's big for you to be able, like, people are gonna hear it because, like you said, some people they're looking for an excuse. And I can relate, like, when I feel embarrassed or I'm struggling with things, even going to that aspect of the marriage you were sharing, you know how many men took their childhood molestation into their marriage?
Oh, me. My mom didn't even. You want to know what's crazy? I had shared with other. This is embarrassing, but it is
Why?
what it is. No, well, because from my wife, from me to my wife, I had shared with because I didn't feel comfortable with sharing nothing. I had shared with other women and people that I had been molested, and my wife didn't even know until about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because you got to keep up that image. If I tell you, you can weaponize it, then I'm weak.
Yeah.
So there's always that fear. But even from that aspect of, I'm not even talking about the knowledgeable childhood molestation.
Yeah.
What happens when somebody doesn't even know that it's molestation? So I use my own personal experience, for example. You know, Stanford, Texas. My grandfather passed out there. Evening service. One thing you know about evening service, boy, you finna have that evening meal. So you sitting there that whole time, you smell it in the back, it's finna be great.
You do smell it when you're
You
getting close to the
smell
end
it,
of
you like,
service. You like, let's wrap this up. Pastor,
Hey,
please.
put that drumstick down. Don't hype them up no more. So you
Yeah.
sitting back, and you know, I'm sitting there. He giving the benediction, and kids eat first.
Yeah.
So I done beeline to the back. I'm ready for it. We great. So I'm back there, got my plate, getting ready to get my food. And this lady from one of the sister churches was like, "Hey, did you wash your hands?" I said, "No, ma'am." So I went straight to the bathroom, started washing my hand. While I'm washing my hands, the door closed behind me. And so she comes in, I'm looking at her, and she begins, you know, hike up her dress. She's touching herself. She puts her hands down my pants, and she does these things. And I'm sitting here lost because this is a woman of God. This is an adult.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to I hadn't experienced this before. So I'm not even scared. I'm just like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And so somebody tried to open the door. You know, she jerked real quick, fixed herself, walked out. And in my 9-year-old brain, I'm like, she told me to wash my hands. She didn't wash her hands. Like, that's how mature I am in that moment. So I go get my plate. We go outside, and I'm with my play uncle. He 20, you know, 9, 20. He an adult, so to speak. You don't realize how immature you are at that age.
Of course.
Because you ain't never been there.
Yeah.
So I know you older than me. So I go to him, and I say, "Hey, sister so-and-so touched my dangling." And the very first question he asked me, I never forget, he's like, "Was she fine?" I was like, "Yeah, she kind of pretty." Start dapping me up. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm confused because it's like I garner your attention. I want you to think of me and cool. So something that just happened to me, you just turned into a staple of, hey, this was supposed to happen. You did good. This was good. And so when I had that experience, I still felt uneasy, and it happened. I don't know if there's talk behind it. Once it's like, oh yeah, he a safe one to get type energy, but it happened multiple other times. And so unfortunately, my grandparents have no idea how many times they pushed me into the hands of my abusers. Because when the little boys start pulling back, you better get over there and give Sister So a hug and stop acting funny. Ain't no protection. Ain't nobody asking, did you violate this child? Did you do any of those things? So you start to think in your mind, boys can't be sexually assaulted. Boys can't be.
We all think that.
Only if it's a male. Now, here's the struggle. If a male does it,
Then
it's the embarrassment, and now you weak, and now I definitely don't want to talk about it. But when it's a female that happens, it's culturally
kudos.
acceptable.
It's like,
so,
man, you
know, one of the messages that I give is called How We Create the Monsters We Hunt. And it's dealing with sexual assault from the male side of things. And so when they actually experience sexual assault from a female, I remember mentoring a couple, and I'm sitting there, we're talking about it, and I'm seeing some of their frustrations and where he's rolling up. And after we started talking, it comes to light, and I'm like, oh, I see it. I'm gonna ask something that's gonna be mad uncomfortable, but just talk to me and flow with me to it. And I said, I ain't dumb enough to think that I ain't having sex. That I ain't saying that for a reason to be in your business, but I do want to ask a very personal question. And I asked, I was like, anytime that y'all are engaging romantically, is it always just hard and aggressive? And she like, every time. Like he's like, man, I ain't finna do that soft stuff with her, man. I ain't no punk. I ain't soft. What is this? And then I asked him a question that he didn't know how to respond to. I said, was your first sexual experience as a child with an adult? And he just started crying. You know, I process it, and she's seeing this like, is he crying? Like, what is going on? So she's scared, and he's in that place. And what I was recognizing and what I was trying to express to her, I said some of that aggression is from a young boy perspective. When you put a young boy in that place, they have to overcompensate because they're a child. And so now your experience becomes perverted. That's the only thing you know. And now I'm getting coached with somebody telling me the things, the saying like, go hard, do these different things in a dominant way. I don't want to feel that way no more.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to flip it over and do the opposite.
Yeah.
Now I'm bringing that into a person that I actually care about.
Yeah.
Who I'm supposed to talk to about that?
Yeah.
Because if I go talk that bad with my boy, are they finna clown?
Yep.
And the cultural response to that is not something that's helpful to somebody who's trying to be healthy within a marriage. So, as you're saying that and talking about those things that we don't talk about to our spouses, there's so many different levels of healing that weren't even realistic to us.
Yeah.
So, trying to step into a marriage as a man right now, I want to encourage any man that's listening, do not shy away from therapy.
Yeah.
And find a good therapist for you. Like, go through treat it the same way you treat shoes. A shoe can look good and it hurts your feet. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to ask for a different size, see if it got
100%.
wide,
Yeah.
go for a different shoe.
Yeah.
Do that same aspect for the fit when it comes to your therapist.
Yeah.
And that aspect is like, okay, they're going to tell me the truth. And if it's uncomfortable, why is it uncomfortable? Oh, man, I ain't really want no help. I wanted to be able to say I got therapy, and they ain't going for it.
And I want to encourage even the church. I want to encourage the church, like, bruh, have these conversations. Now, it might not be something that you go preach a sermon about on Sunday, because in a sermon on Sunday, you have seasoned Christians, baby Christians, a visitor, boom, boom, boom. So I might not get into that, but I got to be able to have these groups where I'm able to be raw. Listen, raw.
Yeah.
The blessing of being here where I'm at is there's no you tell a story, you come down here and you go, I'm gonna tell them something raw. You gonna say it and you gonna have everybody go,
Yeah.
you gonna be like, they ain't even move.
Nah.
Because we talk about everything here.
Yeah.
The good thing about that is we always got a place to vent. Like, listen, you could be frustrated. I was going through with my boy earlier. He just going off about how mad he was. And I'm laughing because I'm like, he got a vent. And he gonna come back later on and say, man, God check me.
Yeah.
But we have this place where we can do that. And I don't feel like I ever had that place in the church.
Yeah.
And let me be very clear. I'm not blaming the church. You only know what you know. Like, even back then, like, even with, molestation when we was younger, like, the knowledge on it ain't like the knowledge it is right now.
Absolutely not.
And so everything just was always kept in secret, and always, especially when we was growing up, and we didn't even, I never heard no homeboy ever tell me nothing like this. Ever.
Nah.
So I challenged the church. Not challenging them in a bad way, but encouraging them to say, hey, listen, let's go into a place where we don't talk about surface level stuff no more. But shoot, start off the conversation. Who been molested here? I mean, that might be like a crazy way to start it off, but let's just get into it, because we want to get to the surface, the deep stuff, and then in that, ask the next question. And how many of you cheated on your wife?
Hey, and watch how many people don't raise their hand before they look and see who else raised their hand.
Absolutely.
Because the first thing they'll look at.
Yep. Yeah.
I call it the middle school dance syndrome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It go from 2 to everybody. It's not gradual.
Yeah.
The floor is bare.
Mm-hmm.
All it takes is them 2 people to get out there.
And the reason why it's necessary in the church is because we skip church hurt. We are hurt from life.
Yes.
And we're trying to do. And the truth is, we came to Christ. Can I be honest? I came to Christ hoping it just disappear out of my mind.
Yeah.
Like I wanted magic. Like,
because we sell it that way
yeah,
sometimes.
And Lee always says magic Jesus. I wanted magic Jesus to come in, take everything. And listen, I didn't want to be promiscuous. I was really promiscuous. Always have been.
Yeah.
Me and my wife had a conversation the other day, which was a hard conversation, but we got to that place where we just talk about whatever. And she was like, "Do you still struggle with lust?" And I was like, "Yeah." And what I mean by that is like, yeah, like I'm saying, but because this started at a young age.
Yeah.
And it's always been there. And and so in that, like, let's have these hard conversations, because I'm dealing with life hurt and I'm coming to the church. I wanted Magic Jesus to come in, take away lust, take away the memories of what had happened to me, take away my anger, and let me live this good, clean Christian life from then on. And I only found out that that stuff never went away, and it was always there. And I never knew how to have those conversations because people around me didn't have those conversations.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the encouragement to the church is to have those conversations. You know, set up a safe place, a safe setting to where we can start healing, bruh.
Yeah.
Because now what you'll get is the men and women of God of what the church is supposed to look like once they're healed and they're able to help people heal in the places because they've been healed there.
One of the things my grandfather used to say all the time is, how do you tell a fish it's in water?
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
No,
'Cause
it's always been there.
it's what it is.
Yeah.
And so until you actually had that experience of being brought to shore,
Yeah.
you don't even know that you need the help.
Yeah.
And so I'm loving what you're saying, just in the regards of facilitating the conversation, because a lot of it is just it's gonna be painful when you find out. Because even with some of my mentoring and stuff that I worked with, one of the hardest things to uncover is what we don't talk about. All molestation ain't violent. We don't talk about grooming.
Facts.
We don't talk about the emotional attachment that starts to come.
Absolutely.
And so now you have situations with both boys and girls where the person that violated them wasn't seen as a violation. It was soft. It was tender.
Yeah.
It was the person that had special playtime with them, and it made them feel special.
And we always talk. We don't never talk about this. Lee always says this. He says, and it didn't always hurt. It felt good.
Look, that's one of the worst experiences, and I talk about it sometimes in that same speech. Is what do you do when it felt good? I felt like I was a bad person when it first started happening to me. Even with my cousins and stuff. When it first happened, the violation was irritating because it was the control, it was the abuse. Physically, I felt like a bad person because it was stimulating. Now I'm sitting back like, oh, I got to be a bad person. I don't have no right to say nothing.
Yeah.
So even in the places where I could have said something, I could have protected myself. Because, when I was 6, what autonomy do you really have? But once you start to get older, you start to grow a little bit, and then you start to see, like, okay, I got the ability to say no in this. So I can kind of punk you into, like, I'm strong enough physically to get you up off of me where I wasn't before. And now it's a struggle of, now I got to deal with the emotional and mental struggle of, you didn't physically hold me down. You told me that you was going to tell my papa, and now he was going to leave me, and now you held me hostage with that. Like, it was those things, but in that same sense, like, I'm talking to somebody whose stepdad told them that your mama won't believe you.
Yeah.
I'm just catching it from down the hill. So, a lot of these things that we're trying to address and have a conversation about, it's uncomfortable because it's not even realistic. And so as I'm hearing you talking, it's kind of similar to language.
Yeah.
It's like when you were talking about your lust and talking about those other things, like if you spent your whole life speaking English, let's say you do learn a new language, guess what language ain't went nowhere?
The English ain't went.
That English ain't went nowhere.
Yeah.
So when you start to become bilingual, it's the reason why you bilingual, because that other language still registers.
Yeah.
So once you start moving, it has to be an intent. How many people got to catch themselves from slipping into their native tongue?
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to, if I'm speaking Spanish or I'm speaking Mandarin, I'm speaking to something else, if that's not my first language, it's easy for me to slip in and start speaking and, let me flip back, hold on,
for sure,
and go to it. That's not saying that will ever go away, but I become more proficient.
Yeah.
And then I start to become more sensitive when I'm slipping. It's like, okay, let me not talk over here. Because if I spend too much time talking to my homeboy who speak English too, I'm going to get comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember it.
Yeah.
So in that same essence, is even from a place of, dealing with lust and different components like that, stop taking your butt to the club. Stop going to these different places where you know it's going to be. Like, I have been in, and this is just for me speaking, cheating has never been a struggle of mine. Not to try to boost myself. It's just not been a struggle.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want nobody. I know what it's like to be cheated on.
Yeah.
I ain't want that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't like all the games and stuff that you had to do it. And so it was certain females that I would tell flat out, especially like in college, high school, I didn't have no self-esteem. So I would literally tell them up front, like if they was trying to be my friend or whatever case may be, I tell them, I can't be friends with you. You too fine. And walk off. Like it wasn't no other conversation. And they thought it was being funny. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be with my girl And then now you come along, because if you start engaging, I don't know if I'm gonna stop, because I know I'm attracted to you. I know this is what it is. So I see some people that play with it and entertain it, and that's where you get caught up, because you think, oh, the Lord not gonna protect you from something that you keep fighting to get to.
And that's a part of it. Like, then, that's where we, you learn. There's a lot of times I got caught up in stuff thinking that I was just stronger than what I was.
Yeah.
And it's like, now you never listen. You can't listen. If you used to be a crackhead,
Hey,
no disrespect, but you shouldn't be hanging out in the crack house
at all.
I'm free from it.
Look
Before you know it, you're gonna be like, man, let me try that crack again.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna matter what it is. Like, weed, whatever. Like, at some point in time, if you keep putting yourself in a situation, you're gonna fall into it. So
Have you ever swam in the ocean before?
yes.
How different is that than a pool?
It's completely
It's a
different.
lot of people that think they can swim
It's completely different.
until you get into a live body. It don't play by the same
And let me
rules.
be really, really clear. When I say swim, I mean about this high.
Look.
I can see how big that is. I ain't swimming out to the, I'm going to swim out to the buoy in the pool.
Look.
The ocean, I ain't going too far. I'm about right here in the ocean.
The ocean checked me.
Yeah.
Because, like, some people in a pool, I can swim harder, move faster.
Uh-huh.
That's not how it works.
It's not.
Out there. You better
Ocean in
understand
control.
the current.
Yeah.
You better, because you can exhaust. A lot of people drown not because they exhaust themselves.
Yeah.
Because they're either trying to swim against something, they don't know when to. I didn't know all these things. So, when we went to California, my first time when I was in college, I learned to respect the ocean quickly, because we were out there. And I was the same way. Like, if I can touch it, I'm good. I ain't finna get out there. This ain't Baywatch.
Yeah.
I know what time this is.
Yeah.
I can swim, kinda.
Yeah.
I ain't even on that Olympic
Yeah.
style, but I'm playing like 10, 15 minutes go by. We pushing each other, we playing, we having a good old time. There was a lifeguard tower.
Yeah.
Say it was right here.
Yeah.
When I looked back, I was all the way down there and didn't even know. I got out the water immediately.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, this is different.
I don't like it.
Something happened.
I don't like it.
Teleported out of
If
nowhere.
I can move this far away
Yeah.
from where I was and not
Yeah,
even
that
know,
fast.
like, nah, because all I'm thinking is the next direction is that way, and I don't want it. But much to what you say, we overestimate our abilities.
Yeah, for sure.
And the ocean will check you.
Yeah.
It don't care about your feelings.
That's
It
good.
don't care about what you talk about. Like, you can fake a lot of things in a lot of sport. You can't fake swimming.
Nah, yeah, no doubt.
Like, either you can do it or you can't.
You can't. That's
Look,
real.
and so, I've seen
That doggy
people.
paddle don't work.
Look,
everywhere.
they look like they can hoop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You can hide.
You pick that guy.
Hey, you can hide. Like, his shot looking good,
Yeah.
but he can't dribble to save his
Nothing.
life.
Yeah.
And the second that you come close to his elbow, that shot's went all the way out there. But you
That's
can
real.
look good because of that. You can't do that in swimming.
Yeah.
I can't look like I can swim.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't fake it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people get themselves into situations. Unfortunately, you out there, like I said, you trying to doggy paddle in the water. You done jumped into a situation your marriage can't handle,
Yeah. For
or
sure.
your commitment can't handle. Because
Absolutely.
desire is not enough.
Yeah. That's
I done
real.
been in plenty of situations where, good or bad, like, I desire to move away. I'm not going to cuss this person out. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And they say something about my kid. I wasn't prepared for that. Wait,
Yeah.
talking about,
Well,
let me
I have
reinvest that.
limitations. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
I was cool when you was talking about me, and then you said something about my wife.
Yeah.
We got to square up.
Now we somewhere else.
Like, look, but you said it. I know what I said.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't know
no
this.
more.
That's
So,
super good.
that's that element of us being honest with ourselves. And sometimes, being honest in the moment of saying, hey, even if I'm going to try this, what is the support system that I got with it? Because sometimes I'm not the best assessor of how I'm doing.
Of course.
I think I'm doing good because I'm not full-fledged smoking crack. But when I came into the house, I done hit 2 blunts. I done drunk a couple. I was well on my way.
Well on my way.
Somebody came along and be like, hey,
bro.
you
Crack is next.
you
Just
one
need
step
to-
away from the needle. Bro.
Yeah. You
one
quit,
step
you
away.
close.
Pull your little habitat. Like,
Yeah.
you need that. And that's why, accountabilities are so important in building it. But, I get excited when I hear people talk about the openness of those uncomfortable conversations, because this is what I know, the more our premise and the way we move, whether it's my framework with See That Speaks or from Boys and Gentlemen, I believe healthy individuals create healthy marriages. Healthy marriages create healthy homes. Healthy homes create healthy neighborhoods create healthy communities create healthy societies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Each one of those things need their own space with
And so in that, like, we're gonna move along because I want to get to these couple of things before we wrap up. But you are, mentoring young people. What's the ages that you kind of like mentor? Like what's the ages of kids that you
Potty
have?
training up.
Potty training up?
Yeah.
Amen.
I don't want. I
Yeah.
can. I
Yeah.
don't want to change no diapers, bro. I did my due.
I feel that. Let's keep the kid. Let's make sure that they get they potty.
If they can go to the
trained.
bathroom, we
Yeah.
got you. Yeah.
And so I say that because one of the things I just did a youth camp about a month ago, and one of the things that I emphasize why I go, I don't feel necessarily called to the youth, and what I mean by that is like I work. I
work
work
better with adults.
yeah, and but I have capacity for everybody because of the Lord, right? But I feel called to go to this youth camp because my thing that I always tell people is like, man, listen, these guys that I talk to in here, a lot of the things that they confess or talk about or need to be forgiven for happened at the age that you have these guys.
100%.
And I always tell everybody at the youth camp, I don't want those guys to be here later. And so us pouring into our young people now is vital and is needed. So we do two similar things, but two separate things at the same time. By the time they get here, they're already like they've been through life for real.
Yeah.
But while they're there, life is starting to be shaped for them, and they, in all honesty, everybody like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most of us, our answer that we gave, 98% of us didn't become that.
Yeah.
Right. We became something else. But a lot of their stuff is shaped and formed there. As they're getting older. I just wanted to. How'd you get the vision of it? And I feel like we talked about it, but how'd you get the vision of it? And how did it begin? How long have it been going on? And then just to speak to a little bit about the book that you wrote and how did that come about? Yeah.
So the origin point of it.
Yeah.
My grandfather.
Yeah.
Again, watching him. It's one thing to experience somebody for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
But to watch him play that role for so many other people.
Oh, that's good.
So I remember asking myself, and I put it in my book. I remember sitting down and I asked my papa, like, why? I found out he's not even my biological grandfather. So my grandmother remarried. So that was just a whole different aspect. Not only am I not your son, I'm not even genetically connected to you, and you the close. There was not another human before my son that I was closer to than my grandfather.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling him, like, why did you take me? Like, why you didn't send me back with my mama? And he says, number one, it's like, what did you do to deserve, what it is? He was like, you didn't make no mistakes, whatever case may be. And it's like, why would I miss out on the opportunity to raise a baby that I love? And I just broke. Like, my dad, But, just seeing that love that he was able to offer. But the thing, back in the day when we didn't have seatbelt laws.
Yeah.
We be 8-9 deep in the back of the
Yeah.
lapped up,
Yeah.
waiting for somebody to come out the trunk type stuff.
Yeah.
But in the back of the Lincoln. And what I didn't realize was how much he was doing that for other people at the time. Because you just there.
Yeah.
I'm eating. We at CC's Pizza. We at the Prairie Dog games. He coming through. He's supporting, helping. But I didn't realize what he was doing until I got a little bit older. I'm like, oh. So when I started working at the rec centers, I'm just modeling the same thing that he was doing. So a lot of those attitudes, when he passed in 2003, since 2003, it hasn't been a year gone by where somebody didn't come and tell me my grandfather changed their life.
That's awesome.
And that was the premise of it, is like, how do we start? So, from Boys and Gentlemen has been officially a little bit shorter, but I've been doing the framework and the actual work of From Boys and Gentlemen for a little bit over 20 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so having that opportunity to navigate through that has been extremely helpful, because through that it's been the groundwork.
Yeah.
Really taking it, how do we build community? How do we get around it? Dealing with financial literacy, having the questions and stuff that we weren't exposed to.
Yeah, that's good.
So, having that conversation, but it branched over into, for my speaking, it's called See Thy Speaks.
Yes.
And so that is my LLC for speaking. and just the framework around it is the cultivation framework.
Awesome.
And so really making that idea of how do I move and how do I create environments that are conducive for growth and development.
Yeah.
And so that was extremely helpful. I wrote the book because of a whole bunch of conversations. So From Boys to Gentlemen is a book as well.
Yeah.
I wrote that because of all the conversations I was having with the moms, all the conversations I was having with the kids, and the ecosystem behind it. So, I worked at the youth detention center out here for a while, and a lot of the book is from that experience. Kind of like you were saying, the levels to it. I was catching them after they got in trouble. I was like, how do I catch them before they get there?
Yes.
And so that is the major focus in that. And the book served as avatar because, especially you start working with parents and stuff, it's embarrassing to say that, hey, I made this choice, I did this. And so one of the questions I've asked in the book constantly when we utilize the book, especially in the single mothers conferences, you kind of pose the question of, instead of asking somebody directly, you could ask them, hey, who's chose a man over their son? Who has hated their son because of a man? You're not going to get a lot of people to answer the question.
Yeah.
Now, when I give you that narrative and you read Tamika and you find out the trauma that she went through and how she got to the point to where, she felt so used and abused that she ended up naming her son after the first man that broke her heart to remind her to never love another man.
Oh, shoot.
You got that type of trauma out there. Now pose that question again. How many of y'all can relate to Tamika? Start seeing the hands go up. I can relate. I understand. Why? Because I gave you a space to actually speak on it. Because if it had to be just me, I ain't coming out and telling you that. Very few people, and there's some, but for the most part, you'll get far more people that can say they can relate than people that say, hey, that was me.
Yeah.
I'm the one who was emotionally unavailable for my son because of the abuse or the misunderstanding I had. I found out that I thought that I was raising him when in reality I was just providing for him. So now he's ran into the same obstacle of not feeling loved, not feeling appreciated, having the newest Jordans, having the PS5. And I do that because I worked 3 jobs to try to make you look good, knowing that I could have went by one and had more time and energy with you, and that would have been more valuable. So that's kind of that focus. Moms are getting that opportunity. Yes, it's From Boys to Gentlemen, but I would say probably the target demographic right behind young men. It's probably 1A. B, you don't know which one is which, but definitely single moms that's going to pick up that book. You'll be like, ooh.
That's good.
We got some conversations to have. So that's the starter with that.
So where can they get your book? And do you have like ebooks too?
Yes.
Okay. And then how to get more information on you, and like, let's say it's like a mom that's like, man, I need some sort of mentor help with my son or my daughter. How do I get them, there? How would they get that all connected with you?
So our website for From Boys to Gentlemen is FB2G. So FB the number 2G.com.
Okay.
So that's for From Boys to Gentlemen. And then the book is available on Amazon and Ex Libris. So you can go to the website. The book is on From Boys to Gentlemen website to be able to get that. Lastly, what's the other question? Oh, if you want to contact, the contact information. Social media is, you can either go to C.FB to G Mentoring on
And
Instagram.
C. is
CDAUGHT.
Yeah, because somebody gonna be like, I've been putting C. in over and over, can't find this.
So
man.
it's dot and my last name Daughtery.
Yeah.
So it's dot the first part.
Yeah.
So that's a childhood nickname that just kind of stuck with it.
Super dope.
But that's really the focal point from that. Definitely for C. Speaks, that is the professional speaking aspect. So C.speaks.com.
And so you will travel and speak too?
Absolutely.
I got to hear him speak like a couple of weeks ago, and it was super encouraging. It was really good. So, I mean, if you want somebody to come and speak, that's going to give you something good and something
at your boy.
Yeah, he'll come through.
Yeah.
Hey, man. So I'm just super grateful, man. I feel like this conversation is good. This is long. This is longer than
I've been known for that. Yeah,
no, this longer than we usually. I don't think it. I just think it was. I think that it was like, because it's all stuff that. It's all real when you come from a place where you deal with all of these different things. To be honest, this is probably a 7-hour conversation.
Yeah.
If we really dig into like every aspect of how I felt here and how I felt there and what I went through and what it looked like and what it was in school and how I overcompensated for this. And like, it was just, I mean, it's real life, and you're trying to cram a lifelong experience into a little bit of time, and there's no amount of time that really will suffice for you to really get through all those different things. So I just think somebody reaching out to you, having you come to speak, or if you're looking to like for mentorship, check him out. He's given the website, from Boys to Gentlemen, on Facebook. I saw his Facebook page, on Instagram as well. Instagram is from Boys to Gentlemen as well.
FB to G Mentor.
FB2G on Instagram. That's the website as well. And man, I'm super grateful, man. I appreciate your time, bro.
Man,
and, thank you, man. I'm gonna pray us out though before we go.
Yes,
Father
sir.
God, in the name of Jesus, I just thank you for who you are, Lord God. I pray you have your hands on every aspect of this episode, and let it speak to those who need to hear it, Lord God. And you put it in the faces and in the hands and in the ears of the right people at the right time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. So listen, for everybody, thank y'all for tuning in again. Season with Grace. I don't know what number episode we're on now. I think like 5 or 6, because we restarted it. We had a whole bunch. We had a whole bunch that we started a new season of Season with Grace and all of that. So it don't even matter at this point. Just click on it and go check it out. Appreciate everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in. God bless y'all. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. If you like the episode, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share so that other people can see the episode if it blessed you as well. And I just wanted to say, if you wanted to know more about what we're doing here at Nehemiah Abilene, all you gotta do is go to nehemiahabilene.org, and we'll have all kinds of information about the program, how long it is, the process, and everything. So if you know somebody, or if you yourself are dealing with any kind of addiction and want some recovery, and some biblical things, and just you want their life to change, go to nehemiahabilene.org and go check it out. I'm grateful for everybody. Appreciate y'all. God bless y'all in Jesus' name.